viewers, I'm Eddie of Eddie's Reef Aquaria. Today's weekly video is about nutrients. Nutrients import and nutrient export. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do part one, which I'll show you what curtails nutrient imports. And then I'm going to go ahead and go to part two, which would be the nutrient exports and how to go about to take out as much as nutrients as you can. But before we start, I do want to thank Louis Chiago of Worldwide Coral, the COO of the company, for giving me this top of Worldwide Corals. Like you know, on most, I would say like 90% of all these corals are from Worldwide Corals. Why do I shop there? Well, because of the professionalism of the staff, the knowledge, but not only that, the corals. They have what's called grade 1 corals. Believe me, I've been in this hobby for more than 20 years. If you follow me, you'll notice that I'm very detailed when it comes to my research on corals, on the topic that I'm going to talk about or something. And when it comes to corals, you have what's called grade A and grade B corals. Grade A are the top, the showpieces. And that's what they only sell at Worldwide Corals. Now, again, you might say, well, wait a minute, what about the price? You can rest assured, I've been shopping there since 2011 when I moved to Orlando, Florida. And I will say with all confidence that there's corals for all pockets, all wallets. You have corals that start at $5. And yes, you have corals and colonies that are at way up there at the high-end and high-end prices. But there is corals for all wallets. I thought I'd shoot that in. And let's go ahead and take a deep dive and start part one. Hold on one second. Here we are. This is part one of nutrients import. As you notice here, I have certain items. Okay, this is what's called imports. Importing nutrients into your aquarium. For instance, food. I happen to use frozen foods. I have here a little cup which I'm going to demonstrate how I introduce the food, but I went ahead and I put some of it, just a little bit, because there's only two blue-green chromis for now. So like foods, coral foods, reefroids by Polylab, and let's say full spectrum minerals, Replenish, which is what I use, and then coral amino, also by Brightwell. Okay, these items, and there might be others, you know, like I've said previously in other videos, there's tons and millions of ways of keeping a reef tank. There is baselines when it comes to what you do and what you don't do and what you shouldn't do. But this is me talking, this is my disclaimer, this is what I use, and this is what I would call, quote unquote, in my case, my nutrient imports. Again, the food for the fish and corals, the food for the corals, and then minerals, elements. This is what really curtails, in my case, my nutrient imports. Now I'm going to pause the video for a second and I'm going to demonstrate how I go ahead and I feed my fish, which also corals tend to benefit from the food. So just, okay, and here I am. I went ahead and I got a little bit of the frozen food. I have one of these little measuring cups from Bionics A and B. So this is what I use. All I do is, some people use RODI water. All I do is I just go ahead and get some water from the tank. I'm going to let it dissolve a little bit. And as you see, they already know, they're getting ready. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and introduce it, and there they go. Now this that you're observing and that I'm demonstrating is one of, as I said shortly, this is a nutrient import. I'm importing nutrients. I'm importing protein to the fish, and also some corals will benefit from it. But this is one of the reasons, or one of the steps, where I would say it's a nutrient import. Anything that you're introducing to a reef aquarium when it comes to food, like in this case, or minerals, or any type of additives, that's what's called a nutrient import. So now we're going to go to part B, which would be the nutrient export, and how to get rid of as much of nutrients in the water. Okay, and here we are on part 2, nutrient exports. Now, to export the nutrient, the amount of nutrients that you might have in the tank, there's different ways. Okay, now one of the ways, of course, would be to do a water change. Do regular water changes, and that will eliminate and will bring down your nutrient levels. The other way to export a nutrient is by using a reactor like this one that I have here from Algae. I haven't used it yet because, as you notice, I don't have that amount of corals and or fish. So my nutrient levels might be a little high, which I'm going to demonstrate how I can see it, and you yourself will see it. But once I see that, I check my phosphates. Right now my nitrates are at 0. But when I do check my phosphates and so on, I'll go ahead and I'll install the Algae reactor, and of course I'm going to put GFO. So doing a little review, water changes, regular water changes, and a reactor. In this case, using GFO is one of the, well, two of the ways to extract, to export your nutrients, your high nutrients. One more item that I also use in general, but also to export nutrients, carbon. Carbon is very essential to take out toxins, nutrients of the water, and also to clear up your water. But there's one more very important item, your protein skimmer. That's very important. Matter of fact, when I applied the coral aminos by Bragwell Aquatics, they recommend that you turn off your filtration system and your protein skimmer for 15 minutes, because a protein skimmer is very essential when it comes to this topic of this video, because it does extract, it takes out toxins, minerals, nutrients that are in the water. It'll pull them out, it'll extract them. So that's very important to also have a protein skimmer. Now, these two things are things that I use to clean the evidence that there's a little bit of high nutrients. How can I tell? By algae. So of course I'm going to demonstrate this, but of course I use a regular toothbrush to clean the rock if I see a little algae. And then this algae scraper, I really don't use it to actually scrape the glass. I use it to actually move the sand when there's a little algae, and that I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate it to you guys. Okay, now here the first thing I'm going to use is the toothbrush. I don't know if you can see it clearly, but I see like a little algae, a little green algae here. That's part of the observation that there's a little high nutrient. So what do? I just go ahead and brush it off. You see how it comes out? There you go. A little bit here, a little bit there, being careful not to touch the Monty cap. I see some here. Okay. Well, you more or less get the picture. This is a sign that my nutrients are a little high because of the observation that there is a little bit of algae growth. Okay, then the next thing that I use, like I was explaining, is this algae scraper. I really don't use it to scrape the algae out of the glass. All I do is to move the sand. So this is what I do. I just do like a rotating type of maneuver. So I'm here next to the recording. You see back here? Well, I go ahead, do the same thing. This is what I do, just flip it, you know, just keep doing a swinging, shall we call it, or a rotation type around it to get the algae out of the substrate. I work myself to the back. And this would be another indicator that my nutrients are a little high. Not only what I showed you about with the toothbrush, that there's a little algae, but also a little bit of algae on the sand. That's also an indicator that there is little high levels of nutrient. Okay, and that's basically it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And then hit that little bell next to the subscription button. And like I say at the end of all of my videos, happy reefing. Thank you very much for watching this video. Bye-bye.